Hey guys, it's Brandon Gustafson. Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. Happy to have you on the channel today. Quick reminder, make sure you take a look over at assistedlivinginvesting.net. Would love to have you over on the website. Check out some of the free resources over there. Subscribe to my newsletter for future content. Also, make sure you like these videos. Give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below so that I can help you out as you're going through your questions and help you as you're trying to learn what this process looks like. I love interacting with people. And then make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell over here. Would love to have you get notified as I get new content up there. Doing all those things helps other people really find the channel, helps them learn more about assisted living and helps them get on this journey that will lead to financial freedom for them. Follow me on my other social media platforms. I'd love to have you over there and just kind of continue the conversations that we're having. I'd love to see you over there. So in our last video, we went over what an LLC is and some of the other types of entities and just kind of gave a general overview of entities and legal structures. Today, I want to get into why you need a legal structure for your assisted living facility, why you need something in place to help you through the process. Disclaimer, again, that I'm not an attorney, so any advice that I provide you should not be considered professional advice, and you should engage a professional for your specific situation. I went through a few different resources last time. KKOS Lawyers and Anderson Associates, I think, are two great organizations that you could reach out to and probably get some good assistance in your specific situation. So I would highly recommend having a call with them and seeing if you're comfortable working with any of them or their attorneys in their offices. So with that caveat, let's get started. Now, the number one big reason for why you need an entity, why you need an LLC, why you need something in place is protection. Having an entity in place is going to provide you with some protection for personal liability. Your personal financial assets aren't going to be in danger if you have an LLC. In the event that LLC defaults on debt or it's sued or something like that, it's going to give you an added layer of protection that's going to allow you to be in a better position just by having that LLC in place. So number one is protection. This type of protection is not offered under sole proprietorships or under a general partnership, where you are just using your personal social security number or something like that to go out and do business. Having that LLC in place is going to give you that added protection. And so that's the number one reason why you want to have an entity in place, why you want to create an LLC. You want to put it in there for that reason. The next big reason is management flexibility. So in an LLC, it gives you a little bit of flexibility in how you can manage that entity. So you could have what would be called a member managed structure, or you can have a manager managed structure. So I'm going to give a little bit of a background on what those are. A member managed means that the members of the entity, so say it's me and my dad, we are the members of the entity. We manage the entity as members. So I consider myself the managing member of the LLC, and so I do a lot of the work and interactions, but my dad is also a managing member. So in the event that there's paperwork that needs to be signed, he's able to do that because he's a managing member. So a member managed LLC means that the members of the entity are actively involved and they're managing the company's operations. We're active in the daily operations of the entity, of the company. A manager managed entity means that the members of the entity can delegate those management responsibilities to a manager, quote unquote. So that person could be a member of the entity, but it could also be somebody that you bring in to manage the entity for you, like an operations officer or a CEO or something like that. You could bring somebody else in to manage the operations of the entity for you. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility there. In the case of a manager managed entity, the members act more as passive investors and are not necessarily active in the business. So those are just a few different ways that you can have some flexibility in the way that you have your entity structured, your LLC structured, and who is managing the daily, day in, day out operations of the entity for you. So another reason why you would consider doing an entity is for tax options. Now, we talked about in our last video how an LLC itself does not have any real tax advantages, though it does allow you the option to elect different tax statuses, such as an S Corp, which we talked about last time. Where there are some tax advantages. An LLC is subject to what's called pass-through taxation. And what that means is that the entity's profits and losses, the P&Ls, for your specific entity are going to pass through to each member's individual tax return. And therefore, the taxation happens at each member's individual tax rate. So you're not taxed up at this higher rate. It passes through, and the amount of money that comes through, it's done at your individual tax rate. That's something else that you would want to talk to a CPA, an attorney. Make sure you have a good understanding in your specific situation on it. And I'm sure I did not give that justice, but that's something to be aware of, that there's what's called pass-through taxation, and things kind of flows down to you, and then lets you kind of deal with the income, the profit and loss at your own individual level, at your own individual tax rate as well. LLCs do not have to pay federal corporate taxes as well. So that's something else that you want to make sure that you are aware of, that an LLC itself does not have to pay those federal corporate taxes. So that allows you to avoid double taxation in that case. So just a quick recap, why do you need a legal structure for your assisted living? Really, the big reasons are protection, management flexibility, and some of those tax options. Again, I'm going to encourage you to go and reach out to a professional to get specific information on your specific situation. That's going to be the best way for you to do this. There are tons of resources out there online that give you high-level overview of why you would have an LLC, why you would have an S Corp, the LLC versus an S Corp, or would you consider a C Corp, which I haven't even gotten into, and I don't think it's necessarily pertinent to what we're trying to build here with assisted living facilities, especially smaller residential facilities. But these are all things that you want to do research on as you're trying to get started. So I would encourage you to have a conversation with a professional in your specific situation, help you understand why you should have an entity set up for your situation, and how that can help you gain that protection, that flexibility, some different tax options, and just have a good, solid understanding of what you are trying to get yourself into. It's worth spending money. It's worth having a conversation with an attorney, especially if it's your first time. I know a few $100s might sound like a lot, but it's well worth the amount of money that you're putting into it to have a good understanding of what you need to create for your entity. Now, next time I'm going to get into how I structured my assisted living business. I'm going to give you an example of how I did mine, especially since I'm, operating things out of state, how we set up our legal structure, with not getting into any specifics or anything like that, but just kind of share that information with you, so that you have a good understanding of how I've done it in the past, and how hopefully that example will help you on your journey to help you get started in your own assisted living endeavors, and help you get started investing in assisted living. Just a reminder, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know if you have questions or anything about why you would set up an entity, or share your experience so other people can learn from you. Give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, and make it so other people can find the channel and learn and continue to grow and progress in their journey to investing in assisted living. I would love to see you over on the different social media platforms, and make sure you visit assistedlivinginvesting.net for free resources and to have content over there. And just a reminder, it doesn't take a lot. It's just a little bit. You can do it. Just get started and keep going, and you'll make it through. We'll talk to you next time.